Have you ever felt your soul crushed by the person who claimed to love you most? A partner who twists your devotion into chains, a spouse who manipulates your trust into control. You tell yourself they don't understand the pain they cause, but the truth is, they know. Narcissists are not unaware. Their behavior is deliberate, calculated, and devastating. In love and marriage, narcissists thrive on manipulation. They gaslight you into doubting your reality, isolate you from those who could help, and weaponize your love against you. They know their actions are unacceptable. That's why they lie, hide their cruelty, and shift the blame to you. Their toxicity isn't ignorance, it's intentional. This article is your proof. With 14 undeniable examples, we expose how narcissists knowingly perpetuate harm in relationships, friendships, and family dynamics. Their behavior isn't a mistake, it's a strategy. Reclaim your strength. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Read, share, and declare. I choose to break free and protect my peace. This is your moment of truth and their reckoning. First, let's explore what it means to be a narcissist. Number 1. Who are narcissists and how do they behave? Narcissists are masters of illusion, constructing an image of brilliance, charm, and competence that captivates those around them. They present themselves as highly skilled, charismatic individuals, someone others admire and even envy. Yet beneath this polished exterior lies a calculated and manipulative core. Narcissists know exactly how to control perceptions, ensuring that any misstep, conflict, or failure is never their fault. In their narrative, they are always the victim, and everyone else is to blame. This duality is what makes narcissists so dangerous. Outwardly, they appear admirable, confident leaders, talented professionals, or loving partners. But when their carefully crafted facade cracks, their actions reveal a disturbing lack of empathy. Narcissists commit acts that leave others reeling in shock, wondering how someone so perfect could behave so cruelly. Their manipulation turns colleagues, friends, and even loved ones into tools, shields, or victims to serve their agenda. Take, for instance, Alex, a man deeply admired at work for his charisma and leadership. He was the colleague everyone looked up to, always full of ideas and energy. But behind the scenes, Alex undermined his team, taking credit for their achievements while blaming them for every setback. When a major project failed due to his poor decisions, Alex didn't admit fault. Instead, he spun the narrative, claiming his team had sabotaged him. His colleagues, caught in his web of manipulation, either became his defenders or his scapegoats. Those who dared to question him were swiftly labeled as enemies, further isolating them from support. In personal relationships, this pattern is equally devastating. Imagine a partner who starts as attentive and loving, showering you with praise and promises of a shared future. But as time goes on, their true nature emerges. They criticize you subtly, erode your confidence, and manipulate your emotions to keep you under their control. When you confront their behavior, they shift the blame, saying, "You're too sensitive," or, "If you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have reacted that way." Over time, you become a shell of yourself, questioning your reality while they maintain their image as the perfect partner. Narcissists thrive on this contradiction, appearing virtuous while behaving reprehensibly. Their actions often leave others bewildered. How can someone so good do something so awful? This confusion is intentional. Narcissists manipulate perceptions to keep others off balance, ensuring their control over the situation. The damage they cause ripples through workplaces, families, and communities. Co-workers become pawns in their quest for power. Friends are used as shields to protect their image. Family members are turned against each other, all to serve the narcissist's need for dominance. The common thread is the same. Narcissists view people as tools, not as equals. Empathy is absent, replaced by an insatiable hunger for control and admiration. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Narcissists paint their world with selfishness and manipulation, and their actions reflect their inner corruption. They know the harm they cause, they simply don't care, as long as it benefits them. Understanding this truth is vital. The brilliance and charm of a narcissist are not signs of goodness. They are weapons of manipulation. The sooner you see through their facade, the sooner you can protect yourself from becoming their pawn. By recognizing their tactics, you reclaim your strength and take the first step toward breaking free from their control. Number 2, lack of empathy. Narcissists are defined by their striking inability to care about anyone's emotions or needs but their own. Empathy, the ability to connect with another person's feelings, is absent in their world. For them, people are tools, stepping stones, or obstacles, valued only for their utility. When the usefulness fades, so does their attention. Their indifference to others' suffering is masked by charisma and charm, but their actions expose their true nature. Narcissists care only for what serves their goals, no matter the cost to those around them. Take Tom, for example. Tom was a dedicated husband, pouring himself into his marriage and striving to be the supportive partner his wife said she needed. She often spoke about her dreams and ambitions, and Tom worked tirelessly to support them, sacrificing his hobbies, friendships, and even career advancement to make her happy. Yet, no matter what he did, it was never enough. She dismissed his exhaustion with a casual, "If you loved me, you'd want to do this," and belittled his attempts to express his own needs, saying, "You're just being selfish." As the years passed, Tom began to feel hollow. Every time he voiced his feelings, his wife either ignored him or turned the conversation back to herself. When he tried to share his dreams, she would roll her eyes or remind him how much more important her goals were. On one occasion, after months of stress and sleepless nights helping her with a business project, Tom finally told her he was overwhelmed and needed a break. Her response? "You're being dramatic. Do you think I have the luxury of taking breaks? You just don't care about me." Her lack of empathy became glaringly obvious when Tom's father passed away. Devastated and grieving, Tom hoped for comfort from his wife. Instead, she accused him of being distant and complained that his mourning was taking attention away from her. "I'm tired of you sulking around," she said. "Do you know how hard it's been for me to deal with this too?" At that moment, Tom realized her capacity to care was conditional, limited only to what benefited her. Tom's story is not uncommon. Narcissists excel at taking, but they rarely give. They exploit the empathy of others while refusing to extend it themselves. They downplay pain, dismiss feelings, and invalidate emotions, all while demanding unwavering support. Their lack of empathy isn't just a character flaw. It's a weapon, used to maintain control and keep others emotionally dependent. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What injures the hive, injures the bee." Narcissists, however, operate as if they are the only bee that matters, oblivious or indifferent to the harm they cause others. Their inability to care for anyone but themselves is not unintentional. It is central to who they are. Understanding this lack of empathy is crucial to breaking free from a narcissist's grip. Tom's journey shows the toll narcissistic behavior can take on a person's spirit, but it also serves as a reminder of the importance of self-preservation. Recognizing the narcissist's inability to meet you halfway isn't failure, it's clarity. Clarity is the first step toward reclaiming your peace and power. Number 3, craving attention and validation. Narcissists are driven by an insatiable need to be the center of attention. Every conversation, every event, every interaction must revolve around them. They thrive on admiration and seek constant affirmation of their perceived superiority. Criticism, even constructive, is intolerable to them. It threatens the fragile image they've built. For narcissists, attention is not just desired, it is essential to their sense of self-worth. Consider Jack, a young professional who had always been the life of the party. At first glance, his charisma was magnetic. He could light up a room, commanding attention with his stories and charm. But over time, his behavior revealed something deeper and darker. In social settings, Jack would interrupt others, steering conversations back to himself with lines like, "That reminds me of when I..." Or, "You think that's impressive? Wait until you hear what I did." He didn't just want to be part of the spotlight, he demanded to own it. This need for attention extended into his relationships. In his marriage, Jack's wife, Mia, often felt invisible. Whenever she tried to share her struggles or achievements, Jack would quickly dismiss them and shift the focus back to himself. "That's nothing," he'd say. "Let me tell you about my day." Even during Mia's birthday dinner, Jack dominated the evening with a long story about his work success, barely acknowledging the occasion meant to celebrate her. Criticism was another battlefield. When Mia once gently pointed out that he interrupted her during conversations, Jack exploded. "You're always trying to bring me down," he snapped. "Why can't you just appreciate how much I do for this family?" Instead of reflecting on his behavior, he turned the critique into an attack, forcing Mia to backtrack and apologize. In professional settings, Jack's need for validation created a toxic environment. At work, he would take credit for team efforts, presenting himself as the sole reason for success. When things went wrong, however, he was quick to shift the blame, often scapegoating quieter colleagues who wouldn't defend themselves. If someone challenged him or criticized his approach, he would retaliate with veiled insults or outright hostility, ensuring no one dared question him again. This relentless craving for attention and refusal to accept criticism stems from the narcissist's fragile ego. Beneath their facade of confidence lies an intense fear of inadequacy. To protect this vulnerability, they demand constant validation while deflecting anything that threatens their self-image. As a result, they leave a trail of hurt and alienation, draining the emotional energy of those around them. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." But for narcissists, this is impossible. Their self-worth hinges entirely on external validation, making them slaves to the very attention they crave. They cannot exist without an audience, and they will go to great lengths, no matter how manipulative or hurtful, to ensure that they remain in the spotlight. Understanding this behavior is crucial for anyone caught in the orbit of a narcissist. Their need for attention isn't about you, it's about them. Recognizing this truth allows you to step out of their shadow and protect yourself from becoming a prop in their endless performance. By refusing to feed their craving, you reclaim your energy and focus on what truly matters: your peace and well-being. Number 4. Refusing to take responsibility. Narcissists are masters at evading accountability. When things go wrong, no matter how their actions are to blame, they twist the narrative to deflect fault. They point fingers, play the victim, or craft elaborate excuses to shield themselves from criticism. Apologies, if they come at all, are hollow gestures designed not to mend, but to manipulate. Take the story of Sophie, a stunning and charismatic woman who always seemed to get what she wanted. She became romantically involved with Daniel, a married man with 3 children, after meeting him through a mutual acquaintance. Sophie knew Daniel was married, but to her, this wasn't a barrier, it was a challenge. Using her charm and the allure of a fresh start, she convinced Daniel that his wife didn't understand him, that his family was holding him back, and that she was the one who could make him truly happy. Their affair escalated, and Sophie soon became pregnant. She saw this as her opportunity to secure her place in Daniel's life permanently. Pressuring him to leave his wife, Sophie painted a future where they could be a perfect family, free from the burdens of his previous life. But Daniel, torn between guilt and obligation, ultimately refused. He couldn't abandon his wife and children, despite Sophie's relentless attempts to convince him otherwise. When Sophie's plan failed, the fallout was devastating. She was left a single mother, shunned by her social circle, and struggling to maintain the glamorous image she had always relied on. Yet, instead of acknowledging her role in the situation, Sophie framed herself as the victim. "I just had bad luck," she would tell friends. "I gave everything to him and he betrayed me." Men are all the same. They can't handle strong, independent women. There was no mention of her choices, no admission of the pain she caused Daniel's wife and children, and no acknowledgement of her deliberate actions. Sophie refused to see her role in the destruction, instead blaming Daniel, his family, and even fate for her predicament. When confronted by others, her apologies were insincere at best, always followed by justifications. "I'm sorry if it hurt anyone, but I thought we had something real. How was I supposed to know he wouldn't keep his promises?" This refusal to take responsibility is a hallmark of narcissistic behavior. Sophie's story reflects their inability or unwillingness to face the consequences of their actions. For narcissists, accountability is a threat to the carefully constructed image of perfection they cling to. Admitting fault would mean admitting imperfection, and that is something they simply cannot bear. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "If someone can show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed. Narcissists, however, reject this philosophy. To them, truth is a threat, not a growth path. Recognizing this behavior is essential for anyone caught in the orbit of a narcissist. Their refusal to take responsibility isn't a misunderstanding. It's a deliberate strategy to protect their ego. By seeing through their excuses and manipulation, you can protect yourself from becoming a scapegoat for their failures and reclaim your power from their blame-shifting games. Now that we understand who they are, let's dive into the 14 proofs narcissists know their behavior is unacceptable. Number 5. They act differently in front of others. One of the clearest signs that narcissists know their behavior is unacceptable is their ability to act completely differently when they are around people who matter, those in positions of power, authority, or influence. This deliberate shift in behavior reveals that they are fully aware of their toxic actions and consciously choose to hide them to protect their image. For example, imagine a narcissistic boss who berates and belittles their team behind closed doors. They criticize harshly, take credit for others' work, and instill fear among employees. However, the moment a senior executive or important client walks into the office, their demeanor changes entirely. Suddenly, they become charming, approachable, and full of praise for the same team they just tore apart. This contrast isn't accidental. It's a calculated effort to maintain their polished facade while keeping their abusive behavior hidden from those who could hold them accountable. In personal relationships, the pattern is just as evident. Consider a narcissistic partner who is cruel and dismissive in private, but affectionate and attentive in public. They might hold your hand at social gatherings, compliment you in front of friends, or act as though they're the perfect partner. Yet, when the audience is gone, their true nature reemerges, manipulative, critical, and devoid of empathy. This ability to turn it on and off at will is proof that they understand exactly what they're doing and how wrong it is. Narcissists carefully curate their public persona because they know how damaging the truth would be to their reputation. They understand that their toxic behavior, if exposed, could lead to consequences, loss of respect, relationships, or opportunities. This awareness is why they go to such great lengths to conceal their actions, showing a polished, admirable version of themselves to the world while saving their worst behavior for those closest to them. Recognizing this duplicity is crucial for anyone dealing with a narcissist. It's not just a warning sign. It's glaring proof of their awareness and intent. Number 6. They justify their behavior with excuses. Narcissists are experts at rationalizing their toxic actions. They never take responsibility for their behavior and instead spin elaborate excuses to deflect blame. Their favorite tactic, framing their harmful choices as necessary responses to external circumstances or the faults of others. "I only did it because" becomes their constant refrain, an attempt to shift the focus away from their accountability. Take, for example, Sarah, a woman known for her manipulative tendencies. In one instance, Sarah spread false rumors about her coworker Emma, damaging Emma's reputation and credibility at work. When confronted, Sarah didn't apologize or acknowledge the harm she caused. Instead, she blamed her actions on a third friend, Lisa. "Lisa told me that Emma was saying bad things about me," Sarah explained. "I was just defending myself. What was I supposed to do? Let her ruin my reputation?" What Sarah didn't reveal was that Lisa had said no such thing. Sarah had fabricated the story to justify her actions, knowing full well it was false. By using Lisa as a shield, she not only avoided taking responsibility, but also created tension between Emma and Lisa, further isolating her victim. In personal relationships, this pattern can be even more devastating. Imagine a man named Mike who began to suspect his partner, Laura, was lying about her spending habits. When Mike calmly confronted her about large unexplained charges on their joint account, Laura immediately turned defensive. "I only spent that money because I was trying to keep up with your friends," she said, making it seem like Mike's social circle was to blame for her overspending. She even went so far as to tell her best friend, Julia, that Mike was overly critical and controlling, using Julia as an unwitting shield to reinforce her excuses. Laura's behavior illustrates the narcissist's knack for enlisting others in their web of rationalizations. They manipulate friends, co-workers, or family members into supporting their version of events, turning them into unwitting pawns or shields against accountability. Their justifications are never about seeking understanding. They're about deflecting blame and protecting their image. This constant excuse-making shows that narcissists are fully aware of their actions. They know their behavior would be unacceptable if seen clearly, which is why they work so hard to rationalize it. Their goal is not to resolve conflict or repair relationships, it's to avoid consequences and maintain control. Understanding this tactic is crucial. Recognize their excuses for what they are, a calculated effort to avoid responsibility. When you refuse to accept their justifications, you take the first step toward breaking free from their manipulation. Number 7. They manipulate others to maintain a good image. Narcissists are obsessed with preserving their image of perfection. To ensure they remain untarnished in the eyes of others, they will go to great lengths, including manipulating people and fabricating stories, to justify their wrongful actions. Their need to protect their facade is so strong that they are willing to distort the truth and use others as pawns in their game of deceit. Take the example of Ryan, a narcissistic manager at a large corporation. One day, a major project under his leadership went awry due to his poor decision-making. Instead of admitting his mistakes, Ryan crafted an elaborate story to shift the blame onto his subordinate, James. He spread rumors that James had been negligent and failed to meet deadlines, even though James had worked overtime to ensure the project's success. Ryan privately told other team members, "I've tried everything to support James, but he's just not capable." To reinforce his narrative, Ryan manipulated a few colleagues into supporting his version of events by selectively sharing misleading information. He framed himself as a leader doing his best under difficult circumstances and portrayed James as the sole reason for the project's failure. Ryan's lies not only protected his reputation, but also damaged James's career, leaving him isolated and disheartened. In personal relationships, this behavior manifests in equally harmful ways. Imagine Lily, a woman who consistently disrespects her partner Mark in private, belittling his career and undermining his confidence. When friends begin to notice Mark's unhappiness, Lily quickly spins the story, painting herself as the victim. Mark has been so distant and ungrateful lately, she tells their mutual friends. "I don't know what I've done wrong, but I'm trying my best." By twisting the narrative, Lily manipulates their social circle into sympathizing with her, while Mark is left to shoulder the blame for a situation he didn't create. These examples show how narcissists strategically manipulate those around them to preserve their image. Whether in professional settings or personal relationships, they fabricate stories, distort reality, and enlist others to defend their actions. Their ability to twist the truth is not accidental. It's a deliberate effort to control the narrative and shield themselves from accountability. Narcissists' obsession with maintaining a good image is rooted in their fragile self-esteem. They cannot tolerate the idea of being seen as flawed, so they manipulate others into validating their false perfection. Recognizing this behavior is essential to breaking free from their influence. By refusing to be drawn into their web of lies, you protect yourself and those around you from becoming tools in their quest for self-preservation. Number 8. They pretend to care to serve their interests. Narcissists are masters at feigning kindness and concern when it benefits them. They can appear incredibly generous, attentive, and empathetic, but their actions are rarely driven by genuine care. Instead, their displays of compassion are calculated moves designed to manipulate others and achieve their personal goals. This veneer of concern serves to mask their true intentions, making it difficult to recognize their selfish motives until the damage is done. Consider the story of Anna, a charming and seemingly thoughtful colleague. When a new hire, Lisa, joined the team, Anna went out of her way to help her settle in. She offered guidance, shared resources, and even invited Lisa to lunch, giving the impression of genuine mentorship. Lisa, feeling grateful, confided in Anna about her insecurities and struggles adapting to the new role. However, as soon as Anna realized Lisa's potential threatened her standing, the kindness vanished. Anna began subtly undermining Lisa in front of their manager, using the vulnerabilities Lisa had shared against her. When Lisa confronted Anna, she was met with denial and faux concern. "I was just trying to help you improve. I care about your success." In reality, Anna's initial kindness was never about helping Lisa. It was about positioning herself as indispensable and eliminating competition. This pattern is not limited to professional settings. In personal relationships, narcissists often employ fake compassion to maintain control or extract favors. Imagine Jake, a narcissistic partner who showers his girlfriend Emma with affection when he needs her support, whether it's borrowing money, using her connections, or seeking emotional reassurance. Once his needs are met, Jake's attentiveness disappears. If Emma points out his sudden indifference, he flips the script, saying, "I've done so much for you. You're being ungrateful." Narcissists' false concern extends to family dynamics as well. A narcissistic parent might lavish attention on one child while neglecting others, only to demand loyalty and obedience in return. Their selective kindness isn't about love, it's about ensuring their influence remains unchallenged. This calculated kindness is one of the narcissist's most deceptive tactics. By appearing generous and thoughtful, they gain trust and admiration, making it easier to manipulate their targets later. Their actions aren't driven by empathy, they're a transactional effort to achieve a desired outcome. Recognizing this behavior is critical to protecting yourself. Genuine care is consistent and selfless, whereas narcissistic concern is situational and self-serving. By understanding the difference, you can see through their facade and avoid becoming entangled in their web of manipulation. The next time someone's kindness feels too calculated, trust your instincts. It might not be kindness at all. Number 9. They operate in the shadows. One of the most telling signs that narcissists know their behavior is unacceptable is their ability to hide it so effectively. They don't flaunt their manipulation, cruelty, or deceit in plain view. They work in the shadows, ensuring their toxic actions remain unseen by those who might call them out or hold them accountable. This calculated secrecy is undeniable proof that they are fully aware of the harm they cause and the lengths they must go to protect their carefully curated image. Consider a narcissistic manager, Claire, who presents herself as a fair and supportive leader in front of her superiors. She praises her team in meetings, advocates for collaboration, and appears approachable to higher-ups. But behind closed doors, Claire's true nature emerges. She bullies employees, assigns impossible workloads, and plays favorites to sow division among her staff. When questioned by HR after an anonymous complaint, Claire feigns ignorance. "I have no idea why anyone would say that. I've done nothing but support my team." Her ability to keep her actions hidden from those in power ensures she can continue her manipulation without consequences. In personal relationships, the pattern is just as insidious. Imagine Chris, a narcissistic partner who emotionally abuses his wife, Emily, in private. He criticizes her appearance, dismisses her feelings, and undermines her confidence. Yet, at family gatherings or in public, Chris transforms into the picture-perfect husband, affectionate, attentive, and full of praise for Emily. When Emily tries to confide in friends or family about his behavior, they struggle to believe her. "Chris is so wonderful," they say. "You're lucky to have him." This duality isn't a coincidence. It's a deliberate strategy to isolate Emily and make her question her reality. Even in friendships, narcissists wield this tactic to great effect. Take Sophia, who constantly belittles her best friend Mia when they're alone, calling her too sensitive or not smart enough to pursue her dreams. But when they're with a group, Sophia becomes Mia's biggest cheerleader, ensuring no one else sees the cruelty behind her words. This duplicity allows Sophia to maintain her reputation while continuing to control and demean Mia in private. Narcissists operate in the shadows because they know their behavior would be condemned if exposed. They are fully aware that their actions are harmful, and they carefully choose when and where to reveal their true selves. Their ability to deceive and manipulate in secret is proof of their deep understanding of right and wrong, and their willingness to cross those lines as long as they can get away with it. The truth is that narcissists rely on darkness to thrive. They need secrecy to manipulate without scrutiny, to harm without accountability. Recognizing this pattern is vital to breaking free from their control. When you expose their actions to the light, their power diminishes, and their carefully constructed facade begins to crumble. Narcissists know this, which is why they work so hard to stay hidden. But once you see through their shadow games, you reclaim your clarity, your strength, and your freedom. Number 10. They carefully choose their targets. Narcissists don't act impulsively when it comes to their behavior. They are highly strategic, especially in selecting their targets. This calculated approach is undeniable proof that they know their actions are unacceptable. They deliberately seek out individuals who are vulnerable, trusting, or less likely to fight back, ensuring their toxic behavior can flourish without resistance. Take, for instance, a narcissistic boss, James, who manipulates his employees to maintain control. James doesn't target the assertive team members who might challenge his authority. Instead, he singles out a junior employee, Alex, who is new to the company and eager to make a good impression. Knowing that Alex is unlikely to push back, James piles on unreasonable tasks, takes credit for his hard work, and subtly criticizes him to undermine his confidence. When Alex tries to raise concerns, James dismisses him with a condescending tone. "You're overreacting. This is how things work here." James's calculated choice of a less assertive target ensures his actions remain unchecked. In personal relationships, narcissists follow a similar pattern. Imagine Jessica, a narcissistic woman who begins a relationship with David, a kind and empathetic man recovering from a previous breakup. Sensing his vulnerability, Jessica plays the role of the supportive partner, earning his trust. But over time, her true nature emerges. She criticizes his choices, isolates him from friends, and dismisses his feelings. Whenever David tries to express his concerns, Jessica counters with guilt-inducing remarks like, "After everything I've done for you, you're being ungrateful." Her choice of David as a target wasn't random. She recognized his vulnerability and exploited it to maintain control. Even in friendships, narcissists carefully select those who are less likely to question their behavior. Consider Olivia, a narcissistic friend who dominates every social interaction. She gravitates toward people who are more introverted or eager to please, knowing they won't call her out for monopolizing conversations or taking advantage of their kindness. Her friends become props in her quest for attention, carefully chosen for their inability or unwillingness to challenge her. This calculated targeting demonstrates that narcissists are fully aware of their behavior and its impact. They avoid individuals who might expose or confront them, instead seeking out those who are less likely to resist. This deliberate choice is not just opportunistic, it's proof that they understand their actions are wrong and take precautions to avoid consequences. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for those who find themselves entangled with a narcissist. Their behavior is not random or coincidental, it is strategic and intentional. By understanding their tactics, you can protect yourself from becoming their next target and reclaim the strength they aim to exploit. Narcissists may carefully choose their victims, but their manipulation loses its power once exposed. Number 11. They pretend to change. One of the most deceptive tactics narcissists use is pretending to change. When confronted with their toxic behavior, they don't genuinely reflect or seek to improve. Instead, they offer hollow promises of transformation. These promises are not about growth. They're calculated moves to regain control and keep others from leaving or holding them accountable. The fact that they feign change instead of truly addressing their behavior is undeniable proof that they know their actions are wrong. Take Lisa, for example, a narcissistic partner who often belittled her boyfriend Tom in private while maintaining a charming persona in public. After a heated confrontation where Tom threatened to leave, Lisa suddenly seemed remorseful. She promised to be more supportive, stop the criticism, and work on her communication. For a few weeks, Lisa was everything Tom had hoped for: kind, attentive, and understanding. But slowly, her old habits crept back. The criticism returned, veiled at first, then growing sharper. When Tom brought it up, she dismissed it with, "I've already changed so much for you. Why are you still complaining?" In professional settings, narcissists play the same game. Imagine Mark, a narcissistic manager whose team frequently felt undervalued and micromanaged. After receiving negative feedback from HR, Mark called a team meeting, expressing apparent regret for his behavior. He promised to give his team more autonomy and vowed to be more approachable. For a short time, he acted differently, asking for input, acknowledging efforts, and giving praise. But once the scrutiny faded, Mark returned to his usual controlling tactics, blaming his team for setbacks and taking credit for their successes. Narcissists pretend to change not because they want to improve, but because they need to maintain their control and image. They recognize that without offering a facade of transformation, they risk losing the people or positions they rely on. By pretending to change, they buy themselves time, manipulate others into staying, and silence criticism temporarily. Their promises are often grand but vague, filled with sweeping statements like, "I'll never do that again," or "I've learned my lesson." Yet, when pressed for specifics or accountability, they deflect. Real change requires consistent effort and introspection, neither of which narcissists are willing to undertake because they don't see themselves as the problem. The cycle of false change leaves those around them feeling hopeful, then disillusioned, over and over again. This tactic isn't about improvement, it's about control. It's a calculated way to manipulate trust while avoiding genuine accountability. Understanding this behavior is crucial. When a narcissist promises to change, observe their actions, not their words. True transformation is evident in consistent, meaningful effort, not in fleeting gestures or empty declarations. Recognizing their pattern of false change is a vital step toward breaking free from their manipulation and protecting your emotional well-being. Number 12, they avoid people who truly know them. Narcissists are acutely aware of the unacceptable nature of their behavior, which is why they carefully avoid people who see through their facade. These individuals, whether they are former friends, ex-partners, or family members, pose a threat to the carefully curated image narcissists work so hard to maintain. By distancing themselves from those who know their true nature, narcissists ensure their manipulation and deceit remain hidden from the larger world. Consider Emily, a narcissistic woman who presented herself as a kind and selfless friend in her social circle. Beneath the surface, however, Emily thrived on gossip, sowed discord between friends, and leveraged their secrets to maintain control. Over time, one of her closest friends, Sarah, began to recognize Emily's patterns of manipulation and dishonesty. When Sarah confronted Emily about her behavior, Emily didn't apologize or reflect. Instead, she gradually began to distance herself from Sarah, cutting her out of social gatherings and bad-mouthing her to others. Emily framed Sarah as toxic or jealous, ensuring that others wouldn't believe Sarah's attempts to expose the truth. This tactic isn't limited to friendships. In workplaces, narcissists may do the same with colleagues who see through their manipulation. Imagine Alex, a narcissistic manager who takes credit for his team's achievements while shifting blame for failures. When one employee, Lisa, starts to notice the pattern and subtly calls it out, Alex begins excluding her from important meetings and projects. He ensures Lisa is sidelined, labeling her as difficult to other team members, all to prevent her from sharing her insights with others who could challenge his authority. Even within families, narcissists follow this pattern. A narcissistic sibling or parent might alienate a family member who has seen their darker side. They avoid interactions, create distance, and subtly discredit the person from other relatives. Their goal is simple: to ensure that no one listens to the person who has the power to expose their true nature. This avoidance is undeniable proof that narcissists know their behavior is wrong. They fear being unmasked because they rely on their public image to manipulate and control. By staying away from those who could reveal their toxicity, they protect their carefully constructed facade and continue to operate without accountability. For those dealing with narcissists, this pattern is a critical warning sign. If you notice them avoiding certain people or discrediting others who know them well, it's often an indication of deeper issues. Recognizing this behavior allows you to question their motives and avoid falling into their manipulative web. Narcissists thrive in secrecy and shadows, but their calculated distance from those who know the truth is a glaring admission of their awareness and their fear of exposure. Number 13. They react strongly to criticism. One of the clearest proofs that narcissists know their behavior is unacceptable is their intense, often disproportionate reaction to criticism. When someone challenges or points out their toxic actions, narcissists don't respond with reflection or an open mind. Instead, They react with defensiveness, anger, or even calculated retaliation. Their extreme response isn't just about protecting their fragile ego. It's a deliberate effort to silence dissent and avoid accountability. Take Mark, a narcissistic team leader. In meetings, Mark often dismisses ideas from colleagues and takes credit for work he didn't contribute to. When a brave team member, Susan, confronted him about this behavior during a brainstorming session, Mark's reaction was swift and aggressive. He accused Susan of being unprofessional, undermining the team dynamic, and trying to sabotage his leadership. He didn't address the criticism itself. Instead, he shifted the focus to Susan, attacking her credibility to ensure no one else would feel comfortable questioning him in the future. In personal relationships, the pattern is just as pronounced. Imagine Rachel, who often manipulates her partner David into fulfilling her every demand while ignoring his needs. One evening, David calmly told her he felt undervalued and exhausted by the imbalance in their relationship. Rachel's reaction was immediate and explosive. "How dare you say that after everything I've done for you? Do you even appreciate me at all?" She didn't stop there. She turned the tables entirely, bringing up unrelated incidents to paint herself as the victim and David as the problem. The goal was clear: to deflect attention from her behavior and ensure David felt too guilty to bring it up again. This overreaction to criticism isn't about misunderstanding or ignorance. Narcissists understand that their actions don't align with acceptable standards, and they know that being called out risks exposing the facade they've worked so hard to maintain. Their aggressive reactions are a form of self-defense, aimed at silencing criticism before it gains traction. The intensity of their response also serves as a warning to others. When narcissists retaliate against criticism, whether through anger, gaslighting, or social sabotage, they send a clear message: challenge me, and you'll pay the price. This creates an environment where people are too intimidated to speak out, allowing the narcissist to continue their behavior unchecked. Recognizing this pattern is vital. A narcissist's strong reaction to criticism isn't just a sign of their fragile ego. It's proof that they're aware of their behavior and its impact. Their defensiveness and deflection are calculated efforts to avoid accountability and maintain control. For those dealing with a narcissist, understanding their reaction to criticism is empowering. It allows you to see through their tactics and recognize that their behavior isn't about you. It's about their fear of being exposed. By staying calm and refusing to be silenced, you take the first step toward breaking free from their manipulation. Their overreaction, far from silencing the truth, only reinforces it. They know they're in the wrong, and they'll do anything to keep you from realizing it. Number 14. Conclusion. Their behavior is not unintentional. The behavior of narcissists is far from innocent or unconscious. Every manipulation, every lie, every feigned gesture of change stems from a deliberate choice. Narcissists know the pain and confusion they cause. They know their behavior is deemed unacceptable by society. Yet, instead of reflecting or taking accountability, they double down on control, deception, and evasion to maintain their power. This awareness of right and wrong, paired with their choice to act destructively, is what makes their actions so deeply damaging and insidious. Narcissists' ability to adapt and adjust their behavior proves their awareness. They manipulate perception, carefully curating their image in public, while unleashing their worst in private. They justify their actions with excuses, blame others for their faults, and use charm as a weapon to regain control when it suits their goals. These are not the actions of someone oblivious to their behavior. These are the tactics of someone who knows exactly what they are doing and chooses to continue because it serves their interests. Stoic wisdom for breaking free. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Narcissists thrive on controlling others, but their power relies entirely on your reaction to their behavior. Once you recognize their tactics for what they are, intentional, calculated acts of manipulation, you begin to reclaim your strength. You may not be able to change them, but you can choose how you respond, and that response can be your greatest act of defiance. How to protect yourself. Dealing with a narcissist is a battle of endurance and self-preservation. Here are key strategies to regain control and prioritize your well-being. 1. Set firm boundaries. Narcissists will push and test limits as much as you allow them to. Clearly define what you will and will not tolerate, and enforce these boundaries consistently. Don't give in to their attempts to guilt or manipulate you into abandoning your stance. Number 2. Seek professional guidance. Narcissistic relationships can leave lasting emotional scars. Working with a therapist or counselor can provide invaluable tools for navigating these situations and rebuilding your mental resilience. 3. Focus on self-care. Remember, you are not responsible for their behavior or for fixing them. Your priority should always be your own emotional and psychological health. Invest in yourself, your growth, happiness, and peace of mind. 4. Build a strong support network. Narcissists often isolate their targets, making it harder to see their manipulation. Reach out to trusted friends, family, or support groups. Surrounding yourself with people who validate your feelings and offer encouragement can help you regain perspective. A call to empowerment. The hardest truth to accept about narcissists is that they will not change unless they choose to, and they rarely do. Understanding this is not a loss. It is liberation. It allows you to step out of their shadow and reclaim your agency. You are not powerless, and you are not alone. If you have faced the challenges of dealing with a narcissist, your story can be a source of strength and clarity for others. Share your experiences in the comments below. Let your voice be a beacon for those still searching for theirs. Together, we can break the cycle of manipulation, build resilience, and stand against the toxicity that narcissists bring into our lives. This is your time to rise, reclaim your power, and protect your peace. First, let's explore what it means to be a narcissist.